Hello, fans, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report Battle of the Brands, where we look at the battle between Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis. The brand split is complete, and Battle of the Brands is now here exclusively on YouTube. Each week, we discuss which show took the top spot for the week, along with your votes on the same. So, let's kick it off, David Hero, by talking about this week's WWE Raw in summary. A new women's champion, a new #1 contender, and 3 hours of a lot of fun.
You really think it's a battle of the brands? You really think it's Raw versus SmackDown?
I absolutely do.
Or is that what they're programming us to think?
They should be, and that is exactly what they are also.
What are they battling? They're not competition for each other.
They're competition. They're competition for each other. Absolutely. Each show should be trying to outdo the other one, much like Raw and Nitro tried to outdo each other back in the
were
Wars
opposing
days,
each other.
But it was still competition. Currently, WWE has no competition, so they've created their own competition, and they are, at least whether it's fabricated or whether it's something they want us to believe, it's something we're going to be rating and talking about. So again, back to this week's Raw, summarized by the new women's champion and the #1 contender being named in Finn Balor for Seth Rollins for the new Universal Championship.
Where was Sasha Banks drafted? What was her draft pick number?
I don't recall.
Probably in the 20s, right?
I don't know if it was that low, but we'll go with that.
She beat the #2 pick.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a bad pick.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, if you're going to draft a top 3, 4, 5 people, those have to be your be-all, end-all studs. The home runs, the 90-yard touchdowns, you know. She didn't last a week. And
overall, though,
before you spin this, like I know you love to, I do not dislike Charlotte. I think she's amazing talent.
I'm going to give you a chance to address that to the masses who had questions for you regarding your comments last week, tomorrow night on Feedback Friday.
And wait another day?
Well, good things come to those who wait.
Okay, I'll wait.
All right, so overall, your thoughts on Raw this past Monday night. 3-hour show, overall, your thoughts.
I thought it was a pretty powerful show. You know,
it flowed incredibly well. It didn't feel like 3 hours. It felt new. It felt fresh. It looked new. It looked fresh.
Was Corey Graves on commentary? Was not distracted.
Barely noticed he was there, which is the best compliment you can give a commentator.
No, but what I'm saying is he wasn't distracted talking about hashtags and apps and everything. He was calling matches and giving history on talents, which was nice. And, boy, I mean, they gave some pretty big matches away on Raw.
Yeah, they did. It was clearly the launch of something new and fresh on Raw this past Monday night. But then there was also SmackDown this past Tuesday night, which was also live, looked new, didn't necessarily feel as fresh as Raw did, but we did see the announcement of the championship match at SummerSlam. It will be Dean Ambrose defending against Dolph Ziggler, who won the six-pack challenge. And I also got big news out of SmackDown this past week in a returning star and a star that did return in Rhino. But overall, David Hero, your thoughts on SmackDown as a complete show versus Raw?
You know, for it being 2 hours, for being the roster that they have, I thought everyone meant something. I was shocked Dolph Ziggler won the six-pack challenge. I thought he was put in there just to keep people happy. I really did.
Well, Baron Corbin was also in the
But that
matchup.
makes sense. He's in there. He's one of the young lions.
Big guy.
You know, same with Apollo Crews.
Didn't notice really how big he was till it was on Cena's shoulders for the AA, the Attitude Adjustment.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Well, many of you chimed in on Twitter with your thoughts on last week's show, so let's share some of those comments. Firstly, at Nikki Knuckles 22 said, SmackDown Live was an actual TV show with builds and a flow. Raw was just a bunch of long, boring matches, even though it will win the poll.
When you have 2 fatal 4-ways, a women's title match, you know, you have the debut of a Braun Strowman. I don't understand how it was boring.
Well, just his opinion. But from there, at the Chris Phoenix said, don't know what those SmackDown Live fanboys are smoking, but clearly Raw was and is the better show. It feels like a wrestling show. It's the last time anyone said that about Monday Night Raw.
Well, let's also be honest. Raw has more talents because it's a longer show, so they can do more things. That's why they could have 2 fatal 4-ways.
Yeah. Well, the results are in, folks, in the fan voting this week, which we do on Twitter. Raw took the win with 79% 79% of the votes. 79% of the fans out there
big
felt
number.
Raw was the better show over SmackDown this past week.
And here's why that was. They got their fanboy, or all the fanboys got Finn Balor and Sasha Banks, which is what they've been clamoring for months. They got what they wanted. I'm willing to bet that if Finn Balor and Sasha Banks were on SmackDown and the same things happened, SmackDown would have been the better show.
But I'm not sure this week, though, we, or at least I, would disagree with the audience. In my opinion, the strong winner this week in the show of shows was Raw Monday night. But it felt new, it felt fresh, more significant things came out of it. And SmackDown, I think Raw hit a home run, and SmackDown hit a double this past Tuesday night.
Raw has the top prospect, Finn Balor, that everyone talks about.
That played a huge portion in it.
It's the biggest thing. Dolph Ziggler, he's kind of like, he's been around. You know what I mean?
I don't know that about him. Well,
I mean, Finn Balor is like the hot new thing on the menu. He's the flavor of the week.
And you don't like him and didn't think he should have won. We'll talk about that on primetime on Saturday night.
And Dolph Ziggler, he's like Rocky Road. Everyone likes it, but it's been around forever. It's not a new flavor.
Can you name the other 29?
Well, I think they're listed in Will Smith's Miami song, aren't they?
Raw versus SmackDown this week. Which show was the better show and won the week, in your opinion, David Hero? I've picked Raw. The fans have picked Raw.
I agree. Raw was the better show because it had new drama to it. If Dolph Ziggler is not the new era.
Well, that's it, folks, for this week's Battle of the Brands. See what we did there with the title? Battle of the Brands.
Yeah.
We look forward to talking next week again, and be sure to follow us on Twitter. And you have the chance to vote each and every week. The poll comes out on Thursdays where you can vote for your show. That way, after the excitement has died down a little, which show was better? Tomorrow night, it's an all-new edition of Feedback Friday. We talk about Charlotte. We talk about the top guys in wrestling who have made stars out of new talents and much more. And then on Saturday night, it's Prime Time, David Hero, where we talk about well, we will talk about Backlash, actually. But we're going to talk about Battleground, which happened this past Sunday, and also more in-depthly on what happened on both Raw and SmackDown, and a huge announcement out of NXT, and huge news as well on Brock Lesnar's status with both UFC and WWE. That and a loaded primetime Saturday night coming here to our YouTube channel. Until then, for that one, this is Damian Nelson saying congratulations to Raw, this week's winner of Battle of the Brands.